Hello there and welcome back to this Modern Front-End Development by Example course, where today we're going to be starting up section 3, in which we're going to be actually creating a to-do list application, which will have both a back end and a front end. Essentially, this application is going to be a lot cooler than what we did in the previous section. Anyway, without further ado, let's get right into this. Alright, today we're going to get started with designing the actual application. So today we're going to be going over the very basics of how exactly our application will work. We will also create the environment where we're actually going to store our application. Just some very, very basic stuff. You'll see what I mean in a second here. Without further ado, let's get into this. Alright, so here I am on my desktop here. Let's go ahead and open up Atom. As always, this is what we're going to be using for our, general development. But now let's also go ahead and open up the folder in which we actually create our projects. I got it open. So right here, right now, we have a Flower Shop email letter and website. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new folder here. And we're just going to say Flower Shop email letter. Let's go ahead and put that in. And then we can go ahead and delete website.html because I just don't really feel like we need it. We're going to keep that there. And now we're going to create a new folder here called To-Do List Application. All right, there we go. And inside here, we can go and actually just save this file. But first of all, let's actually go ahead and add something to this file. So let's make it HTML. And here we're just going to do HTML, just have the basic info here done. So Adam puts it here for us. And now let's go ahead and save it inside that actual folder. So there we go. I went ahead and saved it as index.html. And now we have our basic code essentially ready. Now we're also going to go ahead and create a new folder called CSS. And then we're also going to create a new folder here called JS. But we're going to use that later on. Right now you can keep it as is. And then also create another folder here. And this we're going to call content. All right, there we go. And again, really don't need to pay attention to any of these content, CSS or JS files for now. We're going to be using them later on, or folders. Right now, we just need to pay attention to this index.html file. So today, really what we're going to be doing is creating sort of the layout of our application, how it's actually going to work. Essentially, the way our application is going to work here, and I'm going to use this HTML file as a text editor here for a minute or two, is we're going to have a button in a text field where we're going to be able to type, for example, a to-do list. So something to do, like maybe, I don't know, clean the dishes or make the bed. And then we're gonna be able to type that in, and then on the right we're gonna have a button which will just say add. When we click on that add button, it's gonna go ahead and take us to the same page, but this time it's gonna have our to-do list application. It's gonna add something to our to-do list application essentially. Again, to visualize this really good is to open up like a drawing page where I can actually go and draw something. All right, and here we are. I have actually got just that same thing open we were just talking about, and I can actually draw sort of how our application is going to work. So let me go and actually create the general idea here. So first of all, we're going to have sort of a text box here. There we go. And here we're going to be able to insert text, something like do the dishes or something. And then right next to that, we're going to have a button, okay? So in that button, we're going to be able to click it. We're going to be able to insert something here and then click it. And when we click that, it's going to add our task to a list of tasks that's going to be right here. It's going to sort of like refresh the page when we click add, but it's not really refreshing the page, it's just sending it to a server, and that server sending it back with the added task. And so right here, that's essentially how it's going to be. So we're going to click this, it's going to add our task, and then it's going to write that task right here. And here we're going to have something like a to-do list or something like that. So like okay, it's not letting me. Okay, there we go. It looks awful, but anyway, you get the idea. That is essentially how our application is going to work. It's going to be very simple, but it's going to be a very nice sort of introduction to programming in HTML and in JavaScript as a whole.